Well, this ranger just stopped me on the side of the road, and I had this pretty lengthy conversation about the history of the area. He told me all kinds of stuff. It's pretty unbelievable. He also told me where old Floyd's property was. Let's go find this thing. Now, he says it's the next gravel road on your left. I see this one here. This could be it. Doesn't look like there's going to be much easy about this walk. There's no trail. It's barely a road. But I guess right down at the end of this was the sand cave where old Floyd Collins met his demise. Discovering this, like he did in many other caves in the area. And I thought, hey, what would Floyd do? He would explore. I'm from these parts. I'm from Ohio, a couple hours north of here. And this kind of environment I'm used to. And unlike Florida, it's a lot of lizards, so you just get used to the sound of the little pitter-patter of lizards around. It's weird for people when they are not used to it. Well, when I hear little pitter-patters here in the north, in the leaves around me, I know it's not a lizard. So it does creep me out a little bit. There's some of these things that come back that I'm, not accustomed to anymore. I like it.
When the cave wars were going on, Floyd had one of the biggest problems of the cavers around here that had their own personal caves, is he was a long way from the road. So people would come in and go to Mammoth Cave. Floyd's cave was a long way off. So Floyd was looking for one that was closer to the main road. So he went up and talked to the guy at Sand Cave. Floyd made a deal to see if that cave was something that was where they could make money on it. So he goes over and he gets stuck in the cave.
Well, the brush is getting thicker and thicker and taller. And taller. A lot of thistles.
And so his brother comes and finds that he's stuck. And so it was the third biggest story between World War I and World War II that he was stuck in the cave. And so they brought in all these people, tried to rescue him.
I'm about a mile in, and there is like no sign of anything. But the road is not over.
And finally, he died in the cave. So his parents said, just leave him there. He loved caving. He can just be buried there. A few years went by, and his brother had him taken out, and they buried him on the farm there, right over here.
Nobody has probably been out here for who knows how long. That ranger told me about it. So I know that people have been back here for, over the years, but I can't imagine anybody wanting to do this on a family vacation. I just walked through an area that was huge, like matted down everywhere, and I heard some rustling around in the near distance. This is a trip.
So more years went by, and this dentist bought his cave and farm. So the dentist dug him up and put him on a display inside the cave, the Crystal Cave.
Well, this is where the road ends. Big field. I don't see any road. I might see a fence. I might. No. I don't. Well, there's a really good chance that I'm just lost in the woods.
He was there for a while, But then somebody said, you know, they're getting all the business because they got a corpse to look at. So they broke into the cave and stole him. Took him down by the river and tried to throw him in the river, but they didn't make it. And so they found him missing a foot, because he'd been dead a while, next to the river. So they brought him back, put him back on display inside Crystal Cave. And then the park bought Crystal Cave. It became part of the park. It was such a big popular ordeal that they actually made a Broadway play out of it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Floyd Collins is quite the interesting story around him. And really, if it wasn't for Floyd Collins and all the notoriety it brought to the cave, we probably wouldn't have been a national park as soon as we were.
I hear a deer. Trying to spot it. Oh, I think I see it. I see it. Just chilling. That's a buck. It's like a 6-point buck. Beautiful. They heard me. Guys, even in the weirdest places, check this out. OH! In the middle of the woods. Well, I told you I'm from these parts. Well, I'm from near Columbus. Grew up in a little small town just west of the beautiful city of Columbus, Ohio, where all of my Buckeye family reside and scattered about across the world, like in places like this. We're in Mammoth Cave on a very obscure trail, and some fellow Buckeyes. This is one of the most beautiful hikes I remember ever being on. I mean, the leaves are just perfect right now, and man, it's beautiful. The weather is perfect. There's no wind. Air is still. It's very remote. It's awesome.
But when you get down there, the old ticket house is still there, and Floyd's house is still there. And it's open to the public, so you can just go inside his house.
Must have been the ticket booth. Small newspaper. I was looking closer at this old newspaper and I saw something pretty interesting. Right here for a job offering is a window trimmer. Must have experience. Taylor Drug Company, West Jefferson. I'm always looking for suggestions on where to go next on these adventures. And most of the time I take it from you, or some friends will suggest something, and a lot of times I'll get it from a bartender or somebody I just met on the road. Well, I also take into account things like that, where I see on a newspaper, West Jefferson. That sounds like a good place to go. West Jefferson was my hometown in Ohio, and I think it's time to revisit old West Jefferson, Ohio. We made it. But not before we finish up exploring this very cool place. And this was the latrine. This house is really interesting. It looks well intact. In fact, there's some wood over here. Maybe there's some repairs going on. I don't know. But very cool to be able to just walk in. Apparently, this house is open to the public if you're willing to take the hike. But look at some of this wood. This is floorboard. I know it's this big chunk, 8x8, rough sawn wood. Pretty neat. There's a closet door here without a doorknob. I wonder if this will open it. Oh yeah. Looks like something's living in here. Another entryway. It's pretty unusual in my experience to see trim that's not been painted over time. And unless these have been refinished, which I do not think that they would be, these look like original, like nothing's really done anything to them. I love that the park lets you just wander around and check this stuff out and be free to explore, just like in the spirit of old Floyd Collins.
In between the house and the ticket house, the house is here, the ticket house is here, is a trail. That trail takes you down to his cave. Now the cave's locked, but at the top of the cave there's a rock that in his own hand he scratched out the name of the cave and signed it and dated it. It's really cool.
That's cool, man.
It is really cool. Another thing that's really, really cool is that going down the way down there, he built all that by hand, him and his brother. Okay, so beautiful rock work, you know, that's 100 years old. There's still cedar trees that they cut off to make the handrails. Now the handrail's gone, but the cedar post is still standing with old nails in them. 100-year-old cedar post. Wow. From a handrail. And there's steps that go down there. It's gorgeous.
Oh man, I'm gonna check them both out.
Moss all over stuff, you know. I love it. This is my favorite place. This really park cool. Without the cave is worthy of being a national park. Without the cave.
I really wanted to see what was inside that door. And right down that giant cliff. This is a pretty nice view.
I took some time to reflect on the life of Floyd Collins.
being here where he lived, raised a family, made a business, and then gave a gift of exploration to all those visitors that came all the way out here to Sand Cave just to see what it would have looked like. Crystal Cave, those other caves that he worked in and explored. It was all just an accident. I saw an unmarked road off the side of the exit for Mammoth Cave and decided to take it. Found the grave and that old church. Leaving the church, I met Troy Bradshaw, the crew of people taking care of another cemetery. He's a trails expert and a park ranger. He sent me on my way to our adventure for today. It's amazing to think that 100 years ago, Floyd Collins explored this area to give people that gift of adventure and exploration, and it's still working today. Thank you, Floyd. Rest in peace, my friend. Friends, if you like what you're seeing, hit like, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Anybody buried here of note?
This is the Adwell family or community. I don't know if this was Adwell community. I guess it was Adwell community. But Adwells lived here. I wish I could find a Bradshaw, because I'd sure like to be buried here.
Yeah.
This is my happy place. I love it here.